Wow, that's really amazing. So that's me, and I'm going to give you today the unit 3, which is reading skills. The third unit is very fantastic unit, which is going to speak about the reading skills as an skill. It's a very amazing unit and very fantastic unit, and thus you are going to know how you can write. So in this unit, or in this chapter, we are going to explore about the reading process. Firstly, reading process. Second, reading skills. Third, reading in the classroom. Fourth, reading for younger learners. Let's take the first one, which is reading process. Here are some of the things we are read. We are not going to read just as an reader. We are not going to read naturally here. We are going to read for purpose, which is we are going to read for some things that we handle them in order to read for. So we are going to read for novels first of all. We are going to read for text message. We are going to read for letters, for emails, timetable, newspapers, magazines, menus in the restaurant, course books, and street signs, labels, application forms, websites, flights or train information boards. We are going to read for these purposes. So we call these different types of reading materials texts. We are calling them as texts. There are two basic types of texts: authentic and non-authentic. For example, of authentic text are newspapers, articles, website pages, emails, packaging, and labels, and so on. Non-authentic texts are written especially for learners using imaginary contexts and simplified vocabulary or sentences constructions. For example, reading texts in elementary course book, readers for younger learners. There are differences between text term in the way that we are organized. For example, an email is laid out in different way from letter. Website looks very different from textbook. The writing style or register changes according to the text. For example, the style or form of an email from friends is very different from chapter in the history book. These are the differences, or these are the is a reading process. The reading have many process, which is more than 10 or more than 10, which is novels and text, letters, emails, timetables, magazines, materials, course books. These are the reading process. Let's see the reading skills. You're going to read for the reading skills. What do you mean by reading skills? Learners need to develop their following skills. As a learner, you have to develop your learning to read in various ways. For example, skimming or scanning. Skimming or scanning, that means whether you are going to read fast or you are going to just pick up the main information about it so that you can just skim the paragraph that you have. Adapting the way they read according to the text and the reason for reading. Reading activity using dictionary, using guessing or asking about unknown words. Understanding the relationship between sentences and helping understanding by using textual or visual clues. Using contextual clues where the learners are, what they and others people are doing at the time. Inferring meaning, guessing meaning, background knowledge of lecture about, in reading process You are going to read for some purposes or for some skills that as a learner you have to develop your reading skills. You have to read a lot. You have to read magazines. You have to read for newspapers. You have to read for articles. You have to read for books. You have to guess. You have to ask the meaning. You have to ask a unknown person. You have to figure out what do you mean by learning. What do you mean by reading? What's your purpose from reading skills? You have to figure out all these informations, all this, an antisocial behavior order between the 24 years old man after complaints were received about. You have to read for actions which has been written whether in newspaper or in article or in book. You have to understand that written word. To understand this, you have to understand the meaning of ASBO. ASBO that can be whether it has been written here as ASBO reading crowd court of ASB for homeless man. Those who have home, which is can be ASBO, that which is called AABO. You have to also understand how the subject is referred in different ways through the texts. Homeless man, 24 years, 42 years old. And also you have to understand something about contemporary English society, and you have to also understand about general rules about the phrases, clauses, sentences, skimming and scanning. Let's see the skimming and scanning. Skimming and scanning, the ability to read something quickly and differently and efficiently, is an important skill for learners to acquire. Skimming and scanning are two following things. Reading for guests, skimming. Reading for guests. When you read for guests, you have to guess something. You have to read you have to read for like skimming. Just you have to go quickly through the texts. That which can be about skimming. Scanning is just the kind of reading you do when you want to find about something specific. For example, get a particular piece of information from a text. When you are going to pick out from the text the specific things, you have to read as an scanning, because you are going to figure out the main important words that you are searching for. So that can be scanning. Let's see the fourth one, which is reading in a classroom. Reading activities aim. What is the aim of reading? The aim of reading is to introduce and develop reading skills, which are usually outside the classroom. Reading is not just inside the classroom. Reading can be also outside the classroom. Reading activities is also aimed to introduce the practice language. Which is the practice language. What do we mean by practice language? We mean by practice language that the language that you are learning, you have to practice it. You have to read it. You have to read about it, so that it can be practice your language. Planning lessons. You have to plan lessons. You have to plan. First of all, you must decide what the aim of the lesson is. What is the aim of the lesson is? To do this, you need to consider your learners read. Which skill do you need to develop? How and why can you help? The learners to develop their skills? Choosing the right text for the class is one of the important decisions you have to make, or you have to take it. So you have to consider the following ones. You have to use a topic. What do the classroom interested for? What world's affairs, sports, films, travels. What do they do? What do they know about the topic? Well, you need to give some background information first. Level. What is the level of your class? How many vocabulary you have to do? They know how, you know. This is the reading skills. The reading skills, you first of all you have to choose a topic. When you choose the topic, you have to first of all you must give some background information and some information about your topic, because you have to you are the first which you have choose the topic. You have to give some information about it. Then you have to know the level that you are. So how many vocabularies that you have. So could you understand? First of all, when you choose the topic, you have to choose a specific topic. You have to choose the topic that you are interested in. Whether you have to choose a specific topic that which can be interested for all the learners, that can be easily to read. So you have to choose the topic, an accurate topic which is fluent, could be understood for all the readers. Then you have to know the level that you are. So how you can understand, how do they understand your vocabularies or the vocabulary that they have, those which can be easily to read the text. The length, how long the texts, you have to know how long the text that you have. Is it 2 papers, 3 papers, 4 papers, half papers? It can be 1.5. It should be specific, and it could be easily understood, and it could be not could be too long, or it's not could be too short. That you have to, according to it depends on your level. Yes, that which I can say. It depends on your level. So we can also break the reading lessons into 3 stage. Reading skills also has 3 stage. Pre-reading activities. What do you mean by pre-reading activities? Pre-reading activities that activities can be prepared before the lecture has been taught or has been given. You are going to read the text, or you are going to read about your topic or about your lecture. Pre-reading skills, lessons which you will be read before the tasks. And reading stage, firstly reading stage, and post reading. Pre-reading, which is can take place before the task is given. Reading stage, during the task is given. That means activities provide purposes for reading skills and enable to the teachers monitor the learners. Reading stage, which is the activities that could be given during the stage or during the lecture. The third one is post-reading stage. Post-reading stage is the checking for feedback, which is that be after the task has been given, or after you complete your task or your lecture. That could be checking just for background or just for feeding back. Pre-reading activities also are designed to set tasks for learners, to help the learners prepare for the task, or motivate the learners to read. These are the leading answering the questions. Tasks can be also divided into 2 basic types: asking questions, asking or answering question, not asking, answering question, or doing something, for example, drawing, moving, problem solving, which could be the basic types of the task. I think there is nothing important. The thing which we have I think there is nothing more in order to be added here. Yes, you have to take this reading skills. content summary. You have to take it in order to check whether you can read very fast or fluently, which could be easily understood for the native speakers. So that I think no more. So thanks very much, my dears, and I'm going to stop here because no more. This can be right now. We know the reading process, and we know the reading skills, and we know the reading in the classroom, and we know the reading for younger learners. That could be unit 3. So thanks very much. See you in the coming unit, which is going to be about the writing and the last unit.